Well, everyone, you may have just picked up your Apple Pencil Pro and you might be trying to figure out exactly how to use this particular Apple Pencil. Now, luckily for you, it's not a super complicated process. If you're a new beginner to an Apple Pencil, hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a great understanding of how to use your particular Apple Pencil Pro. Now, for starters, on the exterior, there's a few things to kind of go over. On the outside, you can see that if you'll basically know you have an Apple Pencil Pro or another type of Apple Pencil if you go and take a close look at this particular side. So right now it's not really focusing for me because it's trying to focus on the iPad. But you can see on the one side of your Apple Pencil Pro, you'll have this particular panel. It'll just say Apple Pencil Pro right there. And that's really all you really need to know about your Apple Pencil Pro for the most part for how to determine whether it's the Pencil Pro or not. You'll have this flat side. This is how you're going to connect it to your iPad, which I'll demonstrate in a second. The rest of this is nothing crazy. You do have a vibration motor inside of this, which is really cool. Right here is a touch sensor. So if you double tap on this particular side, it'll allow you to switch between things, which I'll demonstrate in a second. And at the tip of your Apple Pencil, this is a removable tip. So if you unscrew it, you can actually unscrew it and you can screw it back in if you want to. This is great because over time, this rubber pen will basically just deteriorate. So over time, within a couple months or a year, depending on how much you use it, you can replace it. And these tips are very cheap. They're probably a couple of dollars. Apple sells them for a little bit more, but you can get them on Amazon for cheaper. And at the core, that's kind of the outside of your Apple Pencil. Now to connect it to your iPad, you will have to have an iPad that is actually compatible with these particular Apple Pencils. So there's a full list of them online. If you just bought it, you should know. Probably, hopefully, most iPads with flat sides are supported with this. So what you're going to want to do on your iPad, you want to find the portion of your iPad that has this top portion with this magnetic clip. You should be able to see it right here. What you're going to want to do is you want to go and connect it to the magnetized section of your particular iPad. So if you go and just boot it up like this, you should be able to see this section and you should be able to see that little pop-up that basically came up that demonstrates whether your iPad, your Apple Pencil was connected or not. So the first time you go and connect it, it will go and ask you 1,000 questions. Actually, it's not that many, it's like 5 or 6 questions. You want to go ahead and fill out the questions as you normally would, maybe some customizable things. But then after a certain moment, you should be able to go and take out your Apple Pencil and start using it. So like I said, at the core, these Apple Pencils are very, very basic. There's nothing super crazy. It is a stylus at the end of the day. So just to get started, what you're going to want to do is you want to take your Apple Pencil and you can just start scrolling through the pages. So you just want to get used to how this particular Apple Pencil kind of works. You can see you can kind of swipe up, you can swipe down. You can kind of use this as you normally would. Now, I kind of like using my finger more. It's just more intuitive. But you can go ahead and use this particular pencil to scroll through and everything. The only issue to get used to with these Apple Pencils is that you cannot swipe up. So you can see for us, you can't really swipe up. There might be an option within settings. So if you just go in settings, because there is an Apple Pencil settings, you want to make your way over to your settings portion. You can tap on Apple Pencil and you can see a couple of things. Now we'll go through all of these in a second, but there are a lot of different things that you can basically do within your particular Apple Pencil. Now, if we go and make our way back out, you can see if you swipe up, it just doesn't allow you to swipe up. You have to use your finger to swipe up every time. So at the core, just get used to kind of swiping through and everything. The biggest use of Apple Pencils, though, are basically within Notes apps and within drawing applications. So I have already just booted up my particular Notes tab. Now here I have a bunch of notes from a long time ago. But if we go ahead and get into our particular drawing section of our notes, which I'm already in, you can see I can go through and just start drawing. So if I go and make a new note, I can just go and click on Note up here. And if I go ahead and create a new drawing, I can just go and click on the Drawing tab right up here. And then I can go and start drawing. Now there's a lot of stuff that you can do just even within the Notes tab. Now if I go and click over here, you'll basically see I have this little pencil icon on the bottom left. If I tap on it, it'll go ahead and open up all the little drawing tools that are available at my disposal just within this particular section. So what I can do is I can manually choose a different one, and because it supports hover, you can see as I hover over one, it kind of actually starts hovering and kind of choosing the one that I want, which is actually pretty cool. Now, like I said before, we have this little section at the very side that allows us to double tap. So if I double tap, you can see it changes. So what I recommend doing is drawing something, then double tapping this side and switching to the eraser. When you switch to the eraser, you can start erasing things, which is actually very cool. And it's actually a very, very nice thing that we have. We can double tap each side to go back into the pen, double tap it again to get into the pencil eraser, and we can just use that over and over again. That's customizable within the Apple Pencil settings, which I'll go and show in a second. Now, another cool thing that came out for the Apple Pencil Pro is hover. Now, hover basically allows us to go ahead and essentially hover over a certain icon, which the Apple Pencil 2 brought. But now if we squeeze our Apple Pencil, you can see this particular tab come up. So what you just saw is a new specific unique feature for the Apple Pencil Pro. I'll demonstrate it again. if I squeeze on my Apple Pencil at the very bottom, it'll go ahead and start showing me a little option like this while I'm still squeezing it. What I can do is I can go ahead and basically choose a different marker or pencil. So if I want to go to the eraser, or let's say this one, or the color selector, I can squeeze, hover over that selector, and then let go, and it should allow me to go and basically choose whatever I just did. So I'll demonstrate it again. I want this, so I'll go and choose this one, and it'll allow me to basically do what I just kind of chose. So it's actually a very cool thing. If I want to, I can switch the eraser. It's still a little finicky, so you may have to mess around with it, but hopefully by the time you're watching this, it should be a little bit more streamlined and a little bit better. But that's a really cool thing. Again, squeeze, choose the other picker that you want to choose, and it's a really cool thing that you have the option of doing. So again, if I want to choose the marker or the pen, I can come here, choose the pen, choose a different color, and it's a really cool thing. So just get used to squeezing it, and you can customize a lot of these within the settings, which we'll show in a second. So at the core, that's kind of it. There's also a vibration motor built in here. So while you're squeezing, you'll feel that little vibration motor, and it seems like you can squeeze all the way up to down here. So it seems like this portion downwards is where you can squeeze at. So anywhere here, if you kind of squeeze, you'll get that gesture. Now again, if you want to swipe up, you can swipe up this way. There's no like swipe up with this thing. Now if we make our way back over into our settings, and just the hovering over is pretty crazy. I think the Pencil 2 did this, but you can go back into your settings, click into your Apple Pencil settings up here, and you'll see a bunch of settings that you can kind of customize. So if we go and zoom in here for a second, I just want to showcase a few. So for one, you have your name of your Apple Pencil. So you have your Apple Pencil Pro, and then you have the battery, how much battery life you have left here. Now the actions that we have, squeeze, which is a new feature within Apple Pencil Pro. If you tap on here, you can see that within this portion, like I demonstrated, that's where the vibration motor is. You can go ahead and have it switch to a lot of different things. So you can have a shortcut for it, you can turn it off, you can go and have it for the show tool palette, which I like a lot. And you can have the sensitivity option right here if you want it more sensitive or less sensitive. You can kind of customize that there a little bit too, which is pretty cool. Hopping back out, the double tap sensor, which is right here. If you double tap it, it can switch between different things. So here what you can do is you can go ahead and switch between current tool and eraser, switch between current tool and last use, show color palette, show ink attributes, and you can just turn it off. Again, this is really cool if you're an artist who likes drawing. And if you want to allow tap only when it's hovering, so if you're hovering over like this, then you can double tap it. If I'm like all the way up here, it's not going to utilize it. You can turn that on here too. Going back, you can go ahead and either enable or disable hover, which I'd recommend doing. But if I will say, let me say that for a second. So hover, you can go and enable or disable, tool preview, shadow, and haptics. What I was going to say is if you value your battery life, let's say your Apple Pencil is just always dying, the battery life is very poor, you should probably turn these off or turn some of them off. Haptics is the vibration motor. If you don't like your Apple Pencil dying all the time, you might want to turn that off. But if you're always going to plug it in, if it's always charged, then I wouldn't even really worry about it. Now here you have only draw with Apple Pencil, you have your scribble effect, and you can go and even try scribbling if you want to. Now the bottom, this is a really cool thing, because if you go ahead and swipe in the bottom left corner or bottom right corner, it will go and do certain activities. So if I swipe in the bottom right corner, right, I have it for a quick note. Well, watch this. If I swipe from the bottom right corner, it will go ahead and open up a quick note for me. That is something that's actually really cool. So you can go through, make a quick note, like just write something that you want to and then be done with it and it's done. So that's something that's really cool. You can customize that right here. So if you want the bottom left corner to be something else besides screenshot, you can turn it off. Same thing with the bottom right corner. You can customize it and kind of customize it from there too. So that's another really cool option that we have here. Now beyond that, that is at the high level kind of how to use your Apple Pencil Pro. Luckily for us, there's nothing super crazy here. It's a very, very basic tool to use. So what I'd recommend doing is just jumping right in. Go ahead, connect your Apple Pencil to your iPad, kind of mess around with it, see how you like it. You may like it, you may not. So at a high level, that's basically how to do it. One thing I'd always recommend doing is just kind of trying to tighten this, every so often. Sometimes they can get loose. I would recommend going through and tightening it. The reason why is because sometimes it'll just go ahead and be unrecognizable to the iPad. So that's the first thing. The other thing, make sure you're always kind of plugging it in, right? It can kind of be weird because sometimes you might think you have it on when you don't. So what I'd recommend doing is just making sure it's magnetically clasped like this, and you have the Apple Pencil logo come up there. As long as you do that, that means your Apple Pencil is charging to your iPad. That's really all you have to worry about. So at a high level, that's kind of how to use your iPad with your Apple Pencil Pro. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.